I'm going to walk you through exactly what kind of video works at each stage of the funnel, top, middle and bottom, and why matching your content where your buyer is makes all the difference. So stick around, because this is the bit that transforms your video from just content into something people actually remember and act on. If you watched the last video that I made, you'll know that most brands and businesses only use video to get attention and then they stop, which is why it never really delivers much beyond a few likes and maybe a polite comment from someone in the team. But even when brands try to build a proper video funnel, they often get the content completely out of sync. They put in things like product demos way too early, or they open up with testimonials before anybody knows what the product's all about or what they actually want it for. And really that just doesn't land well, and it gets a very confused message out there to your client or your potential buyer. So today we're going to fix that. Now, if we've not met before, I'm Kevin, and I help brands and businesses use video, strategic video, to get real business results. Not just likes and views, but sales. Now, I've been doing this for over 30 years, producing content for everything from Formula One BAFTA winning sports coverage to global campaigns for brands like Red Bull and Nike, LG and McDonald's, to name a few. But I also do this for medium-sized companies just like yours. And from that, I actually achieve the same level of results, really powerful results that are very rewarding and get proper sales. Now, these days, I work with marketing teams, founders and brand leaders who want to make content that just doesn't look good, but it performs well. That means strategy, not guesswork. And that's exactly what this channel is all about. Let's keep this simple. Your customer, whether they're a business to business or business to client or somewhere in between, goes on a journey. First, they become aware of the problem. Then they start looking at solutions. And then they decide who they're going to trust and then where they're going to buy from. And that is technically as complicated as it gets. That's your funnel. So at the top of the funnel is awareness. In the middle of the funnel is consideration. And at the bottom is decision making. Now, in each stage of this funnel, the potential client is always in a different type of headspace. And it's your job with video to meet them properly where they are in their journey and in that particular headspace. If you skip stages or get the content in the wrong order, it's kind of like proposing on the first date. Too much, too soon, and it just really feels off. I mean, you might get lucky, but it's unlikely. Now, I want to show you exactly what kind of video works best right at the top of the funnel first, because this is where the attention span is really fragile, and it's where first impressions most definitely do count. Because at the top of the funnel, people just, I suppose, don't really know where they are yet. They don't even know they've got a problem, perhaps. So they're not really problem aware, if you like. I mean, they're certainly not committed, and they're probably just scrolling through, looking for stuff, searching or killing time between meetings or whatever. But they really aren't really very aware of the fact that they might have a problem that they need to fix. So the job here for video marketing is quite simple. Get their attention. Make them curious. Speak to their pain point. For goodness sake, do not speak about your product at this stage, because good top of funnel video concepts can be really effective. Now, some examples for that could be short form problem-led adverts, or social teasers that showing off who you are. Brand story trailers, sort of giving them a peek of your values and skills that's coming. And one that works really well is thought leadership. So this really positions yourself as an expert in your field before your product or service is even properly put out to the market. But the important thing here is to keep those videos at really high level. You must only focus on emotional hooks or cultural insights, if you like, or challenges that they instantly recognize. So here's a bad example rather than a good one. So assume you've got a new product and you want to warm up your audience because it's going to be launching soon. So thing you do is you go straight into the new feature that it's going to have, or the pricing, or a detailed walkthrough of all of the key features. And this results in an instant scroll by because, they're just not ready for that type of level of information. I mean, that stuff works later, but not right now. That's for much further down the pipeline. All right, so you've caught their attention. They're leaning in, for use of an American term. And now it's time to give them something that shows that you actually get them and you get what they need is a solution to their problem. And this is the time where you can tell them you've got the solution. You can solve their problem that they may have only just realised that they've got. So this is all about the middle of the funnel. Now, this is where the work really starts to happen because people are in research mode. They're not in buying mode. They're looking around the market, trying to find some options. They'll be comparing, researching and testing ideas across the whole market. And hey, guess what? Because they saw your other videos about how beneficial this product's going to be to them, you're top of their mind. So they seek you out. They actually go and find you to look for more information about your product because they're ready. They want to understand more detail of your product or service, but in a way that's really clear and defined and digestible for them. And it needs to be aligned with what they care about and what are they going to get out of it, the benefits. Now, some of the better examples of middle of funnel videos are certainly explainers. Now, these show off maybe specific features, and I'll mention that before, that show the benefits, but at this stage, showing off a few features is beneficial. Also, product overview videos, they're really fantastic to give them a feel for the benefits that they're going to receive once they maybe get engaged with it, your service or the product. Also, customer use cases to show how the service or the product will actually work in different scenarios. And of course, a really old favourite is behind the scenes, sort of like showing them a little sneak peek behind the curtain so they feel involved and informed. And one really effective type of video is thoughtful founder-led content or stories from the actual team themselves. These are really powerful because it gives like the service or the product a human element, and it says to the viewer, we care about you so much, in fact, that we've actually spent time out of our day to come and speak to you before the product's really properly launched. So you're not just saying, great, we're here and we understand you. Here, what you're saying is, we understand you and here's how the problem can be solved. We understand the issue that you're wrestling with, and we recognise you've got a problem and we've come up with a solution. So this is where you make people feel really understood, and it makes them feel more confident to move to that next step down the funnel, down into the next stage basically. But it's really important to only do baby steps every time, small steps towards another small action. Please don't try and do giant steps that go straight to the sale. It really doesn't work. So now you've got their attention, you've built some trust as well with them. So you've given them information and they realise that you might be the answer to their problem. But if your bottom of funnel videos are then really weak, you're still going to lose the sale. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. So now we're at the sharp end. Your buyer is warm, they've done their homework and they're almost ready, but they still need some reassurance. And this is where you prove that your product actually works. So the best bottom of funnel is really achieved by things like case studies to show that the service or product actually works and it does what it says. Client testimonials, these are really, really powerful. They're real gold dust actually in your sales conversion process. Frequently asked questions, simply answering people's questions that they have so they don't have to speak to you, because let's face it, people hate asking questions because they feel stupid sometimes. But it's really important here that you think about clarity, confidence and confirmation. These are the videos that get shared in the decision-making emails internally, that show up in sales decks that get sent by your team saying, this is the answer to our problem. So it's all about gentle persuasion, reassurance and confidence building that you've got the solution that they want. These types of videos work really well because they remove any doubt. So when you line all of this up, TOFU, MOFU, BOFU, you're not just making loads of videos, you're building a journey for your client to follow. And you're guiding someone from not knowing you at all, getting them to trust you and then to choose to work with you later on, all through the video content that's supporting every step of their thinking. It's structured, but it's human. And when we get the mix right, the video stops being a marketing extra and becomes one of your most effective business tools. Now, there's one question I always get asked from teams once they get to this part of the process and they kind of understand it is, all right, but what do we put into the videos? How do we script them? What do we say in them? And that's where the message, structure and scripting comes in. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to build a proper video messaging plan that actually works from the first line to the final call to action. So click through to that now. It's all right there for you to soak it up.